heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Great job. All right. We have two great special guests here. My elder, Elder Urag, and Bishop Lucas. I know a lot of brothers and sisters haven't got to meet the elder, so when you get a chance when the class is over, come and introduce yourself. Get familiar. It's a blessing they came down here to teach with us this Sabbath morning. All right. So without pretty much any further ado, Elder Urag, the floor is yours.
All right, 1 second. All right, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
So as you can see, some of you probably didn't know we were coming. It's what we do. Sometimes we drop in.
I do.
Thank the Most High. But the whole thing is, we want to just express more unity going forward with the churches. And, we're here in a show of just letting you understand that it's, business as usual. We're doing what we have to do to progress this work. And there's no one who will be left out. And, we have many more works to do before it's all said and done. So we want to make sure that we get to know each and every situation that we have for the times ahead. Because when we get into these situations, in the future where we need to be on the move or whatever we have to do for the Most High, it's going to help that we have formed these bonds and understood each other in these last days. All right? So, of course, it's me. We got the bishop here, Bishop Lucas. I'm the regional elder for the West Coast region. I'm leaving my phone number as well as Bishop Lucas if you need anything from us on our end. But we handle a lot of states for the West Coast area. And again, whatever you need, that's what we're here for. Of course, we have the deacon here as well. And we just want to really get people on the same page here as far as just coming together, and like I said, we can show up at any time. So make sure you be on your game. Make sure you're in proper attendance. Because it's all relative to how you will be going forward. Okay? Even punctuality, work on it as best you can, because I know we're Israel and all that, but these things reflect in how we do the work. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And I thank the Most High for each and every one of you coming to the truth and not making it so doesn't feel so lonely anymore. When you first come in, it's that moment where you feel by yourself, and but as you endure, people start to gravitate together, groups grow, and even this, over here, you probably noticed in the time you've been here, those who've been there any kind of time, the growth that's happened. So that's a blessing. With that being said, we're going to go into.
No. We should have read the law. Before, once again, remember, any crying babies, remember we have a room for the crying babies, and make sure all ringers off on the phone. We respect, and especially even this afternoon, make sure that we are on top of our game, because when District Elder is speaking, we want to make sure we show respect and honor, that we have everything in order, and we teach as we are being told. So make sure that we phones off, and if any disturbance with the kids, make sure you get them into the room, so everybody can enjoy the lesson. Without any further ado, Elder Rock, the floor is yours.
All right, so we're going to go into the lesson here. And the lesson is titled, The Wars of the Gods, Are You Prepared? All right? I'm going to go through the commentaries, we'll go through the scriptures here. And on the back of the way we opened up and the things I was saying, it's going to fall right in line with this. Because it's really about getting the bigger picture of what we're walking into here. All right? So we're going to start with a commentary here. If you want to do that, sir.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, commentary here. 1 second. I'm used to my touchscreen, y'all. I got a new computer. My last one, it took 20 minutes to boot up like a car. So I finally got a new computer, so we good, all right? And they touchscreen like my old one, so I'm going to give a couple of seconds here. War of the Gods, are you prepared? All right, the truth comes with many layers of understanding and many levels of preparation. based on what is understood. Unfortunately, due to our years of intensive programming, we tend to stay in a certain base level of understanding and missing the bigger picture of what will actually unfold on the plane of existence one day. Let's, however, take some time to look at what is unfolding in the near future and do the reflection on where we are in respect to being able to deal with what is to come. All right?
All right, Revelations 12, 9 through 17. Going to have the bishop read here. I'm
Chapter
sorry,
12.
y'all forgot.
Yes. Are we, Slocky, 1 second. Are we close on the other mic? Shalom Allah, what's the news? All right, thank you. I will come to it. Yes.
All right, this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Yeshua.
All right, read that commentary, please.
Yes. From the moment man was created, Satan came up with a multi-layered plan to destroy man in the image of the Most High. From there, through Yeshua being born and giving us a meaning of redemption, his plans are falling apart, Slaki. He now works in desperation, knowing that time is running out and he needs as many souls as possible on his side for an impending war that we sometimes forget will happen and really is already progressed, regardless of what we already are not. All right, and our next scripture.
Yes. All right, so regardless if we're ready or not. So the whole thing is that, the bigger perspective here is at the end of all of our issues and confusion, this is what Satan tends to do. Make offenses and all kinds of confusion as a business, and we're just going about our days forgetting that ultimately the others, those on the other side of things, are planning. While we're wasting our time with our issues, getting solved with stuff with each other, they're planning. Satan's been planning for a long time. So it would help us when we really read these things to understand that they're talking about a real battle here that's beyond this little thing they keep talking about with tanks in Korea and Iran. Even Iran's not the bigger end game. There's something bigger coming. We're going to get into it today. So let's turn it to Psalms 96, 4 through 5. Psalms 96 and 5. Excuse me, 4 through 5.
This is Psalm chapter 96, verse 4. For the Most High is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Most High made the heavens.
Yes, sir. The commentary is the war that is going on is not just something you can see or your international news. There are many gods in the earth which are being worshipped through various religions and have a problem with the Most High's people.
Right. So it's funny. We were talking about something on the ride over here. The dynamic of how they've conditioned people with different activities. When you go to, for example, let's say you just want to work out, so you go to some yoga class or something and get involved, not knowing that the end game is to get you to worship these gods. You understand? Some people just take it for recreation, but what ends up happening is you start getting more and more interested in the other side of things, the religion itself. And the whole thing is, we forget sometimes of the unseen hand going on here in our everyday lives. The attempts to put us in, or should I say, connect us with these gods, because there are many. It's not just about, Satan and his thing. It's many gods that have been served by the other nations, by the, even ourselves. We're bugging out on every other god. We were street preaching the one day, the brother, and we're going to put that clip up soon. The brother literally came out and said he's down with Buddha, even though, check it out, he's a Rastafarian. He's supposed to be Haile Selassie. Okay, he's a Rasta, but yes, he said, no, Buddha's cool too. He likes birds. He likes the forest, right? Yeah. So slowly but surely, they have us worshiping so many, things. And the reality is that we can't be ignorant to Satan's devices. Again, this stuff is made to keep us confused and walking around in circles, not knowing up from down, including our offenses. So we're going to continue to go into some of the deeper layers of things to come here, though. Let's go to John 10 and 31 through 35.
St. John chapter 10, verse 31. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Yeshua answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do ye stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because thou, being a man, makest thyself God. Yeshua answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods? If he called them gods, unto whom the word of the Most High came, and the scripture cannot be broken.
Right. And it says here, Christ was letting us know that we have authority we are wasting to be able to stand in the evil days through constantly being in opposition to the scriptures.
Right. Even during this time, they were spinning their wheels going after him, and here it is, he's the one giving them the authority by which they will operate in these last days. When they show you in your favorite little cartoon movies or your action films, the end days and the special powers and all these things going at it, that came through Christ, that authority you will have. The Most High gave him the authority to, and when he comes back, when we go through this change, he will be the one that welcomes us. So the whole thing is, just like then, we do the same thing now, miss the bigger picture. And give by default, Satan wins, we lose our power. Then we're powerless, saying, well, where is this happening? Why isn't this happening for us? Okay? Joel 2, 1 through 11. Is not the Most High with us? What's going on? That's the question. What's going on? Too many times are we distracted. And, like I said, that's why we have to revisit things, come together and understand things on a different level. Because soon, that distraction will be all there is. You're going to be, if you don't get a hold of that distracting matter, that emotional thing going on, trust me, in these last days, it will undo you. And you will see yourself doing things you never thought so. I'm pretty sure, for example, when you had the famines that broke out, and the prophecies came before the famines, hey, there's going to be this happening if you don't stop sinning. I'm pretty sure the people didn't expect to be in a situation where they were in such dire straits that their own child that they had, they may have to eat. That's pretty extreme, right? But what do we think is going to happen here? There's something serious coming that's bigger than each one of our individual differences. Way bigger. And our sins. You understand that? And sometimes I got to check myself in and think of how I was as a young man, still in sin and foolishness, and even willing, and we have these conversations all the time, even with our congregation. Sometimes people say, well, man, that's far. I don't want to drive to, is there anywhere closer? And you say, no, this is it. They're like, man, I can't do that. But then I think of how many times our sin made us drive. We would go to a whole nother state to be a part of that. One of these last days, you better figure out how to draw that same power in more to do what you got to do. All right?
Can I throw in real quick? In other words, you'll go to Cancun, go to Hawaii for parties, spring break, Rocket Point for us in Arizona. We'll do all of that to kick it and break the laws of the Most High. But, we're going to church on the other side of town. Nah, I don't think I'm making it, bro. Are we doing baptism? Nah, y'all don't bail, I'm way over it. We'll do everything to break the laws of the Most High and spend extraordinary amounts, buy clothes that don't fit. You know what I'm saying? Destroy each other. And yet, when it comes to making a sacrifice for the Most High, everything gets in the way. I got to work. I got to do this. My kids want that. Nah, what the elders said, we got to put those things aside and realize only what you do for Christ is going to last. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added unto you. That's all I want to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got Joel too?
Okay. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it. Even the years of many generations, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces shall be gathered blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Most High shall utter his voice and the Most High shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
Who can abide it? And it says here, the gods that Yeshua spoke of will judge this wicked earth, and all corrupt creation within it will be put down with great power. This is the reality that we will have been called to. We must stand and fight while there is still time in the spirit, so that our spirits will be strengthened to fight in the wars far greater than what we have been led to believe will happen.
Right. So the whole thing is, according to TV, this thing is just going to be some tanks, maybe a missile or two, and that's what the war is.
Right.
That's what's coming. That's their definition of World War III, right? But the reality is, that's a microcosm. It's not even close to what will happen when we finally realize our authority and what we have in the Most High and rise to the occasion under Christ to do the Most High's work. There's no comparison. It says they shall enter into the windows as a thief. Christ said he comes as a thief in the night. They will be totally unprepared and unsuspecting. But the bottom line is, where do we want to be on when this thing goes down? The bigger perspective should be just that. The end game. Not what's presently before you, not what you're struggling with. What do you really want out of this thing? Because it's coming. The change will happen. Okay? Let's go to Jeremiah 51, 17 through 23. It says there will be a situation where they're leaping like horses, okay? Going through windows and everything. Dropping in on the unexpected, right? Pulling people out of these special bunkers and all this mess that the wicked are building for themselves. That's the real war coming. They're telling you on all your movies, but the thing is, how do you get there? I remember back in the day, there was a brother, he asked, how do I get there? We sit there, we kept the basic, I kept it real basic, and went and showed them, look, it tell you, the bottom line is to keep the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. You got to keep those basics to get there. It's not nothing heavy you got to do. You understand? It's more qualified, qualifications on jobs and things we have to do in the world than what we have to do to get this kingdom. But we look for it to be something deep. Our priorities are all twisted. We're talking about earlier about all these vacation spots and things we can prioritize, and you break your neck to get to work and all these things. Look, the bottom line is it's a lot easier just doing nothing. It's funny. The work is really just hurry up and do nothing. Stop doing so much to get yourself jacked up here. It's pretty simple. And that, believe it or not, will give you authority, your power. How do you think Christ got it? By taking everything, even up into the cross, when it comes to obedience, seriously. This is the thing. People have weaknesses, that's just what it is. But what makes a person great is not having weaknesses. It's able to be deal with reflection within themselves and actually get those weaknesses out of them before the time comes. The prophets all knew they had weaknesses. That's why every time they would get in a conversation here, they would speaking to angels, they're speaking to Yeshua, and they would say, well, how does anybody get into this kingdom? How is it possible? How are we going to do it? Realizing their weak points, realizing the things they've done in error. But nonetheless, they made it because of their desire to be in perfection. That's all we're asking in these last days, to start moving toward that desire. Have it become something that increases in you, not decreases with time. All right? And you'll get what we're reading here. Let's read Jeremiah 51.
This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 17. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Most High of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers.
Exactly. All right. Commentary here. The rulers of this earth, both seen and unseen, have a problem with the Most High people, because those same people will be their demise when Yeshua returns. The so-called gods, fallen angels, will be judged that are the real rulers over the nations. This is not some small battle with the primitive weapons we are being shown on the news. The gods will fight as in the days of Noah.
All right. And it's funny because the spin lately has been just that. When you look at even the teaching of the Bible, when you go online, all of a sudden they're talking about all these Nephilims and different things, trying to bring that racy topic to the table, but still not dealing with keeping those commandments. You're going to fall victim to the same thing you're sitting here putting out there. That's the problem. We got to, look, it has to be balanced. We can talk about these things, but we have to talk about also, how did the Nephilim even get to power? Was it just because they were strong? You think that's what it was? Or was it because we didn't keep those commandments and he took us down, the Most High? They had nothing. It didn't matter if we were grasshoppers in their sight and all that crazy stuff we started bugging out in the wilderness about. What mattered was the fact that we were being rebellious. We weren't looking internally and cleaning ourselves up. You know, when you read this stuff like, man, you realize what it says? Saying, look, there will be battle axes here. Okay? It is, we couldn't put together a small militia right now. Battle axes to take down every wicked principality and power functioning in and out of this world. All right? And it says, look, the most important part of that, it says, in breaking pieces, captain and rulers. Let's not forget who's ruling everyone as far as these kingdoms. They will fall. The fallen angels will really fall in that day. We just got to choose what we want to do. All right? Now let's go to something about the end, because this was funny when I was reading this again and comparing it to now, what Noah was going through here. Let's go to Jubilees here. I'm sorry I didn't say that as a source. I think it's just Jubilees. Maybe Enoch. Yeah, Jubilees and First Enoch there. All right? We're going to go to today. And we're going to be at chapter 7, 20 through 25. Because I don't think people realize how close, in reality, we are to what was going on back then. Even to the sense of how we're preaching to the people. All right? So let's see what Noah was doing. Even also what was going on in the earth there. All right? You got that, sir?
All right, this is Jubilees chapter 7, verse 20. And in the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to enjoin upon his sons, the ordinances and commandments, and all the judgments that he knew. And he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness, and to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their Creator, and honor father and mother, and love their neighbor, and guard their souls, from fornication and uncleanness and all iniquity. For owing to these three things came the flood upon the earth.
Let's read, wait. Check this out. It said, he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness, the law, and to cover the shame of their flesh. Because, by the way, for those that don't know, maybe fairly new, the law was in effect even during times of Noah. It's just certain things came forth once we was out in the wilderness where he had to throw in special things for us.
Right.
Okay? But there were certain concepts they already got. They already understood. How else would you judge if Noah was righteous or not unless there was something going on? Right? Or law-wise. All right? It says here, he says here, and to cover the shame of their flesh. Right? Tell people all the time, look, dress right. This is what Noah was doing. Get yourself together. To bless their Creator, and honor father and mother, and love their neighbor, and guard their souls from fornication and uncleanness and all iniquity. Now, when we read it briefly, we see, okay, well, yeah, he's warning them that it's going to flood and rain one day. But when you go more in depth, you realize he was doing basically what we're doing now. Preparing you in another way that's actually different from what many may expect should be the preparation. Because why? If you don't deal with the internal stuff, all that other stuff means nothing. A bag of rice or whatever you have prepared, some freeze-dried, whatever, that's great. But the reality is that you may lose that freeze-dried stuff tomorrow. But what about your spirit? How's that been going? Most High can bring whatever food from nowhere. So that's the bigger picture that we have to realize was even going on back then when he was preaching. Getting ourselves right spiritually. All right? You good?
Yes, I just wanted to inject that we know that there were a set of Noahic laws. Because for Cain to be judged for killing his brother Abel, there had to be a law in place. So we know that there was a set of Noahic laws that were also given to the children of Israel even prior to the flood. That's what we're
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, unclean, clean animals, stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go to where we at, 21?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, this is verse 21. For owing to these three things came the flood upon the earth, namely, owing to the fornication wherein the watchers against the law of their ordinance went a-whoring after the daughters of men, and took themselves wives of all which they chose. And they made the beginning of uncleanness.
Now you're reading, brothers and sisters, exactly one of the main reasons why they have an agenda to make us all accepting of whatever is different. This is the real reason. You're thinking it's just because of some man-on-man stuff. No. Anything that's different that you can lend your flesh to is going to be promoted in these last days. Why? Because they're looking to promote this ultimately. The same confusion. The same out-of-order scenarios which the Most High deemed perverse. That's what it's really about. Okay? That's why you must get in order your flesh and the things that you're struggling with, because they will cause you to be compromised. I've come across brothers where they, you think they were solid brothers, that, they wasn't about no foolishness when it came to that man-on-man mess. But then as soon as you talk about it, they're like, look, I can't really speak on that. That's, It's like, well, man, they coming up with this law and that. Well, live and let live. Then you realize, okay, something's compromised here. Don't mean he's into that, but something's compromised.
Yeah.
Why? Because in his mind, he's like, if I judge that, I would have to judge what I'm doing in secret. So I can't have an opinion. And that's the shame of it all. If you don't check yourself, that's how it ends up being. You'll be compromised somewhere else. All right? Let's read.
All right, this is verse 22. And they begat sons, the Nephidim, and they were all unlike, and they devoured one another. And the giant slew the Naphil, and the Naphil slew the Eljo, and the Eljo mankind, and one man another. And everyone sold himself to work iniquity and to shed much blood. And the earth was filled with iniquity. And after this they sinned against the beasts and birds, and all that moves and walks on the earth. And much blood was shed on the earth. And every imagination and desire of men imagined vanity and evil continually. And the Lord destroyed everything from off the face of the earth. Is that it on that? Oh, excuse me. Because of the wickedness of their deeds, and because of the blood which they had shed in the midst of the earth. He destroyed everything.
All right, so before we go into this commentary, I was just thinking about this. And it was so perverse. Are you ready?
Oh.
And it was so perverse that, and to bring this up to speed today, think of how funny it is that the earth is to the point where you have to tell somebody, I got to go to a store and buy organic. Just something basic like that shows you the perversity that they've done to this earth. Everything should be organic. I should never have a question with this vegetable or that is organic, or this cow grass-fed, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But because they have this perversity in their minds, which started even before the flood, things are just destroyed now, tainted. It should be a natural thing just to walk outside. If I need some herbs in my garden or whatever, not worry about a chemtrail destroying something or whatever. But because, again, what was then is now, we actually go through that same process that Noah had to deal with the people. And remember, here's the funny thing, only 8 got on the boat. While he's preaching all this to them. Look what these Nephilim doing. Look at these guys, man. They're killing and killing. Why are you trying to follow them? What's wrong with y'all? 120 years passed. Still nothing. Didn't work. They still got caught up. Right? Let's read the commentary.
Yes, just like Noah did in his time, we are warning the world to repent before the so-called gods return on a whole new level to deceive and destroy the people. Think of Noah 2.0. Mistakes that were made before in the wars would obviously be corrected, being Satan was there to witness it. Man is in full of hell of a destruction. If they kill their own, how much more would they not care about killing your life? Care about your life, choosing.
All right.
Choice.
So man is in for a hell of a destruction here.
Right.
Romans 8:16 through 23. Days of Noah 2.0. That's basically what you're going through right now. That's basically what you're going through. Because anything that didn't work before, what we're saying here is Satan would have had opportunity to now reflect through it and make it a little better here. Well, that wasn't working. That didn't work too well. Let's do it this way now. Even the perversions. They probably had some kind of special technology to watch certain things, but they was like made it more readily available now. Now you can just get a computer for free.
Yeah.
They'll give computers away for free. You know something is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you get homeschooled or whatever, that's a cool thing and all that. You notice they give you a free computer. Like, here, keep this. You got an extra one sitting around. So here it is now, your child can now access things on the side or whatever with their little free phones and all this stuff just easily, obtainable now. The devils will come right up in your house, unawares. Right? Let's see. Romans 8:16.
This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And if children, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Christ. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth that travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body.
All right, it says here, we must boldly ride out to battle like King David and assume our rightful place as heirs to the kingdom. The whole creation is dependent on our spiritual growth. So why not put on the spiritual armor so that we may boldly put all principalities and powers under our feet?
All right. So the whole creation is counting on us to get this right. You know, jokingly, I say it all the time, just think of the foolishness that your dog, for example, got to put up with simply because you ain't trying to get yourself right. He's in there to communicate. He's got to smell on somebody and rub up and bark, and it's just no, you know what I mean? This is a thing that was put upon animals as a curse.
Right.
For our stuff, for our mess. I tell you can read that if it was in Jubilees or Joshua, one of y'all.
Gotcha.
So the whole thing is, the whole creation is waiting for us to get this thing right. And that's why I say, even the basic stuff, little silly stuff, I just can't forgive this person because they did this like 3 years ago or so. The lions, everything is waiting on you to just get over your issues with this person here. Okay? They sitting here, they ain't even lions anymore. They chasing flies and stuff in the zoo right now. So the whole thing is, we have to wake up to that. We're going to go to Enoch here. We're going to go to chapter 10. And it's 1 through 12 for your later reference. But we're going to read to the point of 6. All right? Why he's getting that, I just want to encourage you all, like, really learn that those little things that you're struggling with and the larger scale of things mean nothing. The whole creation is waiting on you. And they keep showing you this in your movies. They show you this somehow it's like a misfit child or some young, and he doesn't realize his full potential. He struggles, he goes through all kinds of confusion, but eventually he becomes a man, or he becomes that strong woman that the nation is dependent on, right? It's telling you the same storyline over and over again, just in different flavors of what it is that has to happen with us. We have to grow in responsibility. We have to assume our rightful place so that the creation can get itself together here. and things will flourish. All right? Enoch 10.
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 10, verse 1. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One spake, and sent Uriel, the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast them into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Dudiel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons.
All right. And the thing is, these angels taught us a lot of wickedness, weapons, all this stuff. You think we just came up with it on our own? About 100 years, we were barely dealing with, cars here. We had little goofy things you cranking up, throwing water in or whatever. It was a sad scene compared to what we have now. You think we made that jump in like 100 years? By ourselves? Just because we're so smart? Yeah, right. All right, so the whole thing is these angels were teaching us things that was destroying mankind at that time. And it's destroying us again. Okay? To the point where they had to bind them. It says in the desert Dudia, we've brought this out before, when you look at your monument, your great pyramid, that's that place, that's that landmass, or should I say that strip of land in which this angel was buried. He's known as Osiris, okay? The whole thing is, they put this out there in Egyptology. I think they call it Judean in Egyptology or something like that. the underworld. That's the name of it for them. He's under that pyramid. So he's waiting just like all these other angels are waiting for their judgment. And these guys, they go in there with their little incense and stuff trying to communicate with these guys. And the funny thing is though, in all of that, where do we fall out? They're doing all these efforts. We were talking about on the way over here too. They fasting and everything to their gods. Where do we fall out? Well, how are we dealing with things? They're serious about their side of things. All right? Let's read that commentary real quick. Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. It is that very time where the people of the Most High will see the judgment of the gods, and them being dragged by chains before the throne of judgment. How can we be this close and not fight hard to get into this kingdom?
All right. How can we be this close? 2 Ezra 13:29-36. We're in the days that Christ and all the prophets spoke about. We're in those days. They were saying we're in the last days, but we're literally in them. Okay? We don't have to go, man, is there another 2,000 something years possibly, Christ? No, we're in that last part. Okay? So that's why I say, look, we're spinning our wheels here. What we have to do is come to a resolve here and understanding. Look, we're supposed to be heirs to a kingdom. Just like I tell you to look at your wife as an heir to the kingdom as a man and vice versa there. Well, that's the wrong term, but the point is back and forth there. Okay? It's supposed to be that respect and thought process going on. It's the same thing with each of us. There's a kingdom to be obtained here. The bigger picture is what matters. When it all breaks out, it's not going to matter that little small issue you had with a person.
Right.
I'm going to tell you straight. Been there and done it. Seen the confusion that happens when riots and stuff break out. And look, there's only a few key people you can trust to do the right thing. The rest is going to flee. They're going to do something they ain't got no business. High and dry. Selfish. Okay? So these are the things we have to fight against. Matter of fact, these are the things that caused even the angels to fall. These same foolish things we do today. All right? Let's read that.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another.
One realm against another. They showing that in all the X-Men cartoons and different things, talking about realms and battles, and this is what's going to happen. Okay? Well, how do you get to the power there without first dealing with it? It's like any skill you acquire, it's about the foundational things first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you branch out from there. If you have no foundation, you ain't gonna be able to get your legs up under you. There's no building a house without it. So the whole thing is, to get to this part where it's this elaborate thing and it's saying realm against realm, work on the foundation. Christ understood the foundation from a young child, to the point where he's in his schools and everything amongst the great men and their discourse, and he's going through different understandings from way ahead of our time. Because a lot of us started later on in life. He was doing it back then. He was a little child. But you have to have that first. All right? Let's continue.
Verse 32. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I have showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands.
Right, with power we will have power. That's what it's talking about, under Christ. All right, read that.
Yes, and it says, the Father hath prepared us for a return of Christ, though his word and his realm shall clash against realm. The most elaborate fantasy movie isn't even close to the amount of insanity that will come upon this earth. All that being said, even in the midst of the confusion, Yeshua is the key, and his Father's commandments will judge the wicked.
All right, 1 Corinthians 6, 1 through 3. 1 Corinthians 6, 1 through 3. It says, an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together. Now, when you link up the precepts on that one, it's funny. Yeah. At that time when they do that, they'll already know we're the people. Yeah. Not just that, they'll already know who our God is. Yeah. And they'll still say, you know what? They doing good, we doing bad. Let's go ahead and try to rob them when we're in that wilderness. That just sounds crazy, don't it? But is it any crazier than the thought process we have when we're in sin? It's very irrational. Yeah. And for all the stuff that happens as it breaks out of this earth, they will not repent. That's just what it is. But you still have a chance. All right? Let's read that.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to the law before the unjust and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life?
Exactly. This is a bigger perspective here. It's constantly being pointed out by the prophets in the scriptures. We will have the responsibility of judging angels, yet we don't know how properly to counsel ourselves and to solve matters between us and the Spirit of Christ.
Right.
All right. So that's the thing. That's why it comes down to that cream of the crop thing.
Right.
Those that will get this thing finally and rise to the occasion, because pretty much with what we're dealing with, a lot of times we're missing the bigger picture of what responsibility we will be put into our hands here. That's why most I say, okay, I'm going to give you your time so I can see what your end will be. I'm going to give you the time to really focus on yourself here. Because, look, you're going to be judging angels one day. All right? Romans Let's jump to 16. Okay, Romans 16, we'll do that. 17 through 19. I mean, just think of that, brothers and sisters. That's the authority you will have one day. And if you don't believe it, check out. Isn't that what Enoch was given responsibility over? He's literally he's actually bringing messages to the angels saying, look, you're going to be in trouble here. Okay, y'all got some problems now. Most I said he ain't hearing your prayers.
Right.
Okay? Matter of fact, I think the one message he gave him was, you should be,
Interceding for me. And
Yeah, so the whole thing is, he's sitting here telling, look, this is your responsibility here. Through Enoch, though. How humbling is that? So that's the authority we're talking about here. While we're not settling these things and resolving our lives and getting these things together, that we're giving up. This is the authority we're giving up. Read that, please.
This is Romans chapter 16, verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yeshua, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. For your obedience is come abroad unto all men. I am glad therefore on your behalf, but yet I would have you wise unto the which is good, and simple concerning evil. Verse 20. And the Most High peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. The grace of our Lord Yeshua be with you. Amen.
All right. And the adversary will be tread underfoot soon, and still our perspective on things are still divided and surely missing the mark when it comes to the end game of judgment.
All right. So that's the kind of authority we're missing out on. Okay, but let's jump to Luke 10. We're going to skip Romans there. Let's go to Luke 10, 16 through 20. It says, sure, it'll be a time where Satan will be under our feet. Man. But that time starts now. Tell you, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Don't think it's just about that time you've encountered Satan. You've encountered Satan pretty much probably your whole life. But the problem is you got to want to get put on some boots here and tread now. You got to stop entertaining the foolishness. All right? That was the point I wanted to bring out. Even though, hey, the division thing is key. That's a big part you got to start paying attention to because it shouldn't exist. The first person to deal with heresy and division was Satan. Straight up. So that's what another problem that the doctrine of Christ provides to those that don't want to listen to. It makes you check yourself on those kind of spirits, that kind of emotion. All right? Let's read that.
This is Luke chapter 10, verse 16. He that heareth you heareth me, and he that despiseth you despiseth me, and he that despiseth me despiseth him that sent me. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice, because your names are written in heaven.
All right. It says here, Satan was overcome through good. Christ gave his life for the brethren, and the power to tread on scorpions was also given unto them as works of good things in this world of serpents. But what else comes with this power?
All right. We're going to look into that because he said the power to tread on serpents and scorpions. You have to realize also you had your, for example, tell you, look, we were bound, the angels were bound in prison, right? So these are the original, I was thinking about this the other day, these are the original, what they were called jailbirds. You know, the Bible describes in Revelation 18 demons as birds as well.
Right.
Okay? Hateful birds. Angry birds. Remember that game? No coincidences. All right? So the whole thing is, that's what you have to realize. The authority. We're going to go into it right now. Let's see where we're at here. Revelation 9?
Yeah, Revelation 9.
All right, 1 through 15. Read that, please.
It says Revelation chapter 9, verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke out of the pit. The smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death. Excuse me.
All right.
It says here, an unrepentant heart will, I'm sorry, okay, we got 1 second here. 1 second. Yes. Right. Yes. I'm used to my, yes. There we go. Normally I have no mouse. Yeah. 1 second, y'all, this is the computer. Through Christ, we are all sealed with the Holy Spirit and are not subject to the torment that these particular spirits of punishment shall wield upon the earth. We should daily walk in the Spirit if we hope to avoid these such things. We are not given the power to tread on the scorpions. Are we not given the powers? I consider this. Were we not given the powers to tread on scorpions?
All right. Jump down to 15. Same chapter, folks. 15.
Verse 15. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these 3 was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
All right, real quick. So these spirits, which are spirits of punishment, which will be actually released into the earth. That's why things are getting worse.
Right.
That's why everybody seems to be strung out on some kind of hallucinogen or something these days. They're really for the wicked. They're really not for us to even be a part of that judgment of them, now that they're bringing forth. We choose to be caught up. And in these last days, you know, when it all shakes out, remember, the authority, it said, would be to tread on scorpions. To do the impossible, if you will. Paul got bit by a snake and kept it moving type of power. Remember that. That's what you have in store. Well, it tells you right here, the wicked won't fare too well in this thing.
Right.
Okay, let's read that commentary.
An unrepentant heart will be broken heart in these last days, and there will be no shortage of judgment upon the wicked. We must die into our flesh daily, that we may live the judgment ahead, if it be the Father's will.
All right.
We're going to go to Psalms 82, 1 through 8.
Have you read?
This is Psalm chapter 82, verse 1. The Most High standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations.
And remember I said 120 years prophesying prior to the flood. It says, look, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. And let me tell you, I'm in California right now, over there, and let me tell you, the ground moves. We don't even consider that all this stuff is because of our disobedience and confusion.
Right.
We don't understand all the atrocities we complain about directly, we were really looking in that mirror properly on us. They said, look, ye are gods. In other words, you go to that Hebrew there, you're supposed to be the judges of this earth. You're supposed to be the one setting things straight. But ye shall die like men. If anybody's dying right now, it's definitely the children of Israel. Now, other men are dying too, don't get me wrong. And it still goes back to the same roots. We just don't get it. Okay? We have to wake up. Last scripture, Sirach 39, in our apocrypha here, 28 through 35.
Sirach is also Ecclesiastics for the people that don't know. All right? So it would be Sirach or Ecclesiastics 39, 28 through 35. All right? You are. They get right behind us to see everything you see.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes,
All right.
This is Sirach chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Therefore from the beginning I was resolved, and thought upon these things, and have left them in writing. All the works of the Lord are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season. So that a man cannot say, this is worse than that. For in time they shall all be well approved. And therefore praise ye the Most High with the whole heart and mouth, and bless the name of the Most High.
All right, so there are spirits that are created for just that, punishment upon this earth. And it's really for the wicked. It's not for those that want to do the right thing here. But the thing is this. When I wanted to go into here, I was thinking about just an example here. I remember seeing on the news a while back, and this is something apparently that's common. For example, in India, right? It said spirits that are teeth of wild beasts and stuff like that, right? It shows like there's a big old worshiping of gods thing they do there, which is a huge crowd, and people end up stepping on each other and everything. They got the elephants going and everything. The elephants end up trampling people. And a lot of people end up dying during this particular time of the year because of this stuff, right? These are all things that the Most High has lined up for those that rebel. When you're watching the video, you're just saying, wow. But then you forget why these things happen. Why do things happen in our neighborhoods? And we forget the key part here at the end. It says, look, when all that's going on, therefore praise the Most High with the whole heart and mouth, and bless the name, that's why the name is important, of the Most High. When all that's breaking out, you watching CNN, make sure, brothers and sisters, you continue to worship the Most High and do the right thing by Him. All right? And that with being said, that's the lesson for today, but we're going to read this commentary real quick. All right, 1 second.
It says here's the basics. We must keep to obtain our power over this earth. Is not able to be understood by the fleshly, because it is a spiritual in nature. Our armor must be unable to be breached, and the basics will make us indestructible and worthy of rulership. We choose to die like men when we can rule over the gods, stand in authority together to rule under Yeshua. Now, what else is there to be offered by this wicked world? Shalom, and that's our lesson for this Sabbath, all right? All right, great job, ladies.
All right, thank you, Most High.
All right, we have the announcements coming up, but before we let the announcements come up, also keep Elder Urok, Officer Arwak in your prayers, because he's in New York and he has something to do with his family. You know, he has a sick mother. Also keep Shalom Malak and his wife, Sister Bobby, in her prayers. She lost her brother. There also will be a yard sale for them to raise funds to bury the brother. So, you know, keep that in mind. If you need more information on that subject matter, talk to Elder Urok after the end of class. Also, this Wednesday, there will be a men's...
Not me.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Shalom Malak. I'm just, Shalom Malak for more information on this address or anything like that. Also, Wednesday, there will be only a men's meeting. But this is a men's meeting. We need all the men here. I got a phone call a week ago, and it was a brother expressing to me where's his work in the church. And I wanted to have a meeting based on that, to where whatever idea or area you want to find within the body, let's come together as men.